Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast, brought to you by Playbook Investors Network, your strategic partner for unstoppable growth. Visit pincommunity.org to get started.
I'm Ken Chester. On the docket, AI finally gets guardrails, trouble in the water, and what's up with new vehicle destination charges? You are always welcome to add your voice to the conversation, be it to ask a question, share an opinion, or even suggest a topic for future discussion by calling or texting the Tech Mobility Hotline. That number, 872-222-9793, or you can contact the show directly via email, talk@techmobility.show. For those of you who enjoy Substack, you can find me at Ken C. Iowa as a proud member of the Iowa Writers Collaborative. And that's Ken, the letter C, IOWA. From the Tech Mobility News Desk, I want to talk about a company. You may not have heard of it, but if you're a regular listener to the show, you might remember me talking about VinFast. VinFast is a Vietnamese automaker that started importing cars into the United States, predominantly in California, over the last few years. And they had big plans. Their original plans was to grow to at least 125, 150 dealers across the country. They were going to build an assembly plant in South Carolina, brand new. And they were going to grow like wildfire. Well, as things happen in the auto industry, their plans didn't go that way. Matter of fact, VinFast retail network has shrunk to fewer than 24 stores, reversing its U.S. expansion, with a dealer in North Carolina the latest to exit the brand. This is according to Automotive News. The store closures come amid sinking U.S. sales for the Vietnamese automaker, which has fallen behind on plans to import less expensive models as its focus shifts to Asian markets. 2 years ago, VinFast actually envisioned hundreds of dealers selling a full EV lineup, including a pickup. Today, it just offers two models in the United States, the VF8 crossover, starting at $41,100, and the three-row VF9, starting at $64,100, both including shipping. Now, full disclosure, I have seen both of these vehicles, and no, I have not driven either one. But I will tell you this, with my years of reporting on the auto industry, first of all, the way a vehicle looks, the way it's designed either attracts you or repels you. If you're not attracted to the way the vehicle looks, you're not going any further. Both these vehicles, in my estimation, look kind of clunky anyway. Can't really explain it. It just didn't look smooth and inviting and something that I'd want to put in my driveway. Also, is this company so, I don't even have the word for it, but bold to ask Americans who know nothing about them to spend as much as $40,000, let alone $60,000, when there are so many awesome vehicles for sale from a lot of different automakers in that price range? That's the sweet spot. It's $40,000 to $60,000 is the sweet spot. If you're looking for something that is totally capable, very awesome, and wonderful, you will find it between $40,000 and $60,000. Obviously, if you want more, you can pay more. If you're willing to settle for less, you can pay less. But the sweet spot really is right there. So they're already starting in an area that is immense competition. And like I said, I actually put my hands on each of these this past October in Chicago. I did not get a chance to drive either one. And I really wanted to because I wanted to get the idea. But I'm going to be blunt with you. The styling failed to impress me at all. The fact that would give me a desire to want to test drive it because I like the way it looks. No, I'm not going to tell you that. I'm really not going to tell you that. In fact, industry veterans say, and I quote, VinFast just didn't find a good enough connection with consumers to get them interested. They're also dealing with, like so many companies that are importing vehicles, higher import tariffs. And like I just said earlier, another veteran weighed in and said, the U.S. is one of the hardest markets to crack because we've got so many automakers already. And I've told you what he about to say many times. And this is a direct quote. This is like a 20-year or 30-year investment if you're serious about the market. And I've said that many times. You're looking at billions of dollars with a B, billions, tens of billions of dollars. If you're going to compete in the U.S. marketplace, particularly in the mass market area, which is where VinFast was, right in the sweet spot, when you have so many other choices. First of all, you got to have a reasonable argument as to why I should consider your vehicle against, one, vehicles whose reputations I know, two, the aspirational vehicles in the marketplace, three, those that I know what the value is. If I'm looking at a Toyota Highlander in that price range, I know what I'm getting. If I look at a Kia Telluride in that price range, I know what I'm getting, and the warranty is killer. Same with Hyundai, even at a Palisade. And that's not to mention different automakers, whether you want a BMW, whether you want an Infiniti, whether you want a Lexus, you can find something between $40,000 and $60,000. Easy. So you got a lot of competition in there. And I haven't even talked about pickup trucks. I haven't even talked about SUVs. And on top of this, they were coming in not with hybrids. They were coming in with pure electrics in this world as the industry and the consumer has shifted to hybrids. Right now, the hottest ticket in town is if you're selling hybrids, really, that's the place to be. Because the hybrid in the industry gives you the best of both worlds. It gives you extended range. It gives you lower emissions. It gives you a lot more options than you would have either in a pure gasoline or a pure electric. You just win. And right now, the automakers that are offering hybrids are winning. And those that are not are suffering. VinFast, victim of timing. A victim of timing. Bear in mind, their first store, their first franchise dealership, opened early just last year, 2024. And that didn't happen. They put the assembly plant on hold. And they're trying to hold on to dealers right now. Of the 22 VinFast retailers on the automaker's dealer locator, only 17 listed inventory for sale. Most had 15 or fewer vehicles in stock. And in fact, one dealer in Pensacola had a single 2024 VF8 crossover for sale with a sticker price of $52,910. VinFast should take note of what Nissan is going through right now. Nissan's in the middle of trying to right size, and they've been in this market for decades. And they're struggling. Here you are with two vehicles, pricey vehicles. You don't have an entry-level vehicle for somebody, an entry-level hybrid, which would be perfect if you're trying to break in. And they're obviously not students of history. If you go back in history in the automotive market of the United States, Toyota and Honda broke into this market with dependable, low-price, reliable, high-economy cars, and they grew. Honda came in via motorcycles, and their first car, the Accord, built in Ohio, and it grew. Then came the Koreans in the mid to late 1980s, Hyundai first. They learned, and they grew, and got better each time. Kia behind them, better each time. VinFast didn't seem to learn any of those lessons. And these folks have been here for decades. And they just started. They said to the automotive press that they are reassessing their participation in the United States, but they are still dedicated to the marketplace. And ironically, they did pay attention to one thing. The automaker provides a 10-year, 125,000-mile warranty with unlimited mileage for the battery. So maybe they learned a little something. But if you don't have product and you're not willing to put in the advertising and do what you got to do to establish a beachhead, you're going to spend billions before you get traction, particularly in this market and particularly where they're at, because there are a lot of good product out there. It's called RSL, and it's a way for publishers to express licensing terms for AI scraping and training. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
We asked Miss McDonald's class to show you our new Voyager, a special kind of wagon. With an electronic ignition system, a tighter turning diameter than its competition from Ford or Chevrolet, and power front disc brakes. It holds lots more than an ordinary station wagon, but the nicest thing about Voyager is it's a Plymouth, and that puts it in a very special class.
Ah, yes, the Plymouth Voyager of 1975, which is not the minivan you might remember, even if you remember that. Plymouth is a brand that Chrysler had from 1928 to 2001. So if you're of a certain age, and granted this is over 24 years ago, you may not remember Plymouth, but it was a major brand. It was a budget brand. It was an entry-level brand for Chrysler at the time. And the Plymouth Voyager was actually a full-size van that carried passengers. It was a window van, but they called it a wagon. But basically, full-size van. And Chrysler would make those vans, called the B van, until about 2004. But in 1975, it was considered a wagon. Thought you should know. It's called RSL, which is short for Really Simple Licensing. And it was launched this past September as a way for publishers to express licensing terms for AI scraping and training. This is progress for content owners, especially given the dearth of AI rules and regulations from our nation's legislators. This is topic A. I'm not even going to get started on the regulation part, the fact that we should have had federal regulations relative to what AI can and cannot do and protect all of us. But since we don't have that, right now a number of publishers are suing some of these AI model companies like OpenAI for scraping data from their content to train their models without compensation. And they're saying, yeah, that's not right. What RSL 1.0 does is it is a collaborative effort between the RSL Collective and a broad community of publishers, and it's designed to be an industry-first open web standard for publishers and creators to define transparent, machine-readable usage and licensing terms for the content on which AI systems rely to fuel future innovation. In other words, if you're going to use my data, if you're going to use content that I have created, then you should pay me. And it should be easy and consistent across the industry. Some 1,500 plus media organizations, brands, technology companies worldwide now endorse it. Excuse me. This includes the Associated Press, Vox Media, USA Today, Boston Globe Media, BuzzFeed, Stack Overflow, Arena Group, which publishes the Street Parade and Men's Journal, and Athlon Sports, Mensudo Group, which includes Inc. and Fast Company, The Guardian, and Slate. Makes sense. If you're creating content in today's world, it costs money for you to do the research, send out the reporters, and produce the content. Is it fair that AI should be able to have access to content you've created? Your creative mind, your creative abilities, your work and sweat, should you not get compensated? Because it's way past fair use. And this is what's going on. Up till now, there was no way for a content creator to specify terms in which, if I do let you use it, this is what I want you to pay me. There was nothing that was consistent. Because understand, in the United States of America right now, there are no federal laws governing AI. There's some states that have attempted it. There's some tug of war between the federal government and those states as to who has the right to do it. But there's nothing consistent. So if you are a content provider, say in northern Wisconsin, there is nothing outside of this licensing platform to protect you from AI scraping and pulling in your information, train its models. There's no compensation for the work. There's no recognition for the work. This is really part of what was going on during the Hollywood writers' strike. And it's the tug of war going on right now between those in the creative part who create art, create text, create music, create print, radio. We're all in the same boat. This offers us an opportunity to say, wait a minute, no, it's not free. It wasn't free to us. It shouldn't be free to you. Here are the terms. And the beautiful part about this, the way that they've got it set up, is that in a world where AI systems rely on scaled access to text, images, audio, and code, it creates a signaling layer for policymakers who are trying to balance copyright, fair use, innovation, and compensation. RSL puts publisher terms in a consistent format and creates a clear place for the industry to look. As always with this stuff, there is a challenge. And that challenge is compliance. Because remember, no laws. None of the major foundational model developers have agreed to honor RSL 1.0. And I'm talking about OpenAI, Google DeepMind, Anthropic, Meta, xAI, Mistral, and Amazon. None of those companies have made any public commitments to read or respect that file. So there's a framework out there. But guess what? They're not legally required to comply. And as a result, here we are. It only works if AI companies adopt it or if infrastructure providers enforce it. For now, the signal exists, but the receivers, companies I just named, remain silent. Now, infrastructure support may change this dynamic. Cloudflare, Akamai, and Fastly can enforce RSL rules at the network level if the publishers choose to configure their systems this way. Enforcement may also come through new legal frameworks. And it's sad for me to say this. It really is. But in something like this, I would expect Europe to take the lead. I would expect Europe to mandate RSL or something like it in the AI world because they've been leading in terms of setting up guardrails. Now, to you all that said, technology should not be hemmed in by the government. The government should not be picking winners and losers. Let me leave you with this. Guardrails are not the same as restrictions. Guardrails identify the size of the sandbox, but it doesn't tell you what kind of sand you play in. It gives you an idea of what the rules are that everybody can play and play nice. Europe is led in this regard. We need guardrails. We need something like this because the content providers should be protected and should be compensated because it ain't free. Nobody's working for free. RSL 1.0 is a good start, but only if the AI infrastructure companies adopt it and enforce it, and the foundational companies respect it. And I think if we get any relief or any help, again, it's probably going to be Europe. From the Arctic to the Colorado River, there is trouble in the water. I discuss that next. This is the Tech Mobility Show.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.
Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out. This trouble in the water, from record-setting temperatures and rainfall in the Arctic that melted permafrost, releasing toxic minerals into more than 200 rivers across northern Alaska, to the brawl over water rights to the Colorado River, there's trouble. Time to discuss. This is Topic B. If you don't know, let me start by defining what permafrost is and let me work backwards. Permafrost is a mixture of soil, rocks, and organic matter that remains frozen year-round, covering much of the Arctic's land surface. With that in mind, that permafrost has been melting since the early 2000s, and researchers now discovered toxic chemicals leaching into rivers in northern Alaska as the permafrost melts. The rivers are turning orange. There's a reason. This reason stems from naturally occurring deposits of what they call pyrite, an iron sulfide mineral, to air and water, causing a chemical reaction known as oxidation. As the climate warms and permafrost thaws, groundwater seeps into deep soil layers. This rust-colored water was coming from springs and hillsides rich in pyrite. Normally, remember, we just explained permafrost. Permafrost, it does not melt. Due to climate change, it's warmer in the Arctic than it should be by a considerable amount. And they report that actually temperatures in the Arctic are warming 3 times faster than the rest of the world. Turned out that back in the day, you would see something like this in an area that was heavily mined, where they had piles of waste rock and just waste that had heavy chemicals in it. When it rained, it would leach out into the rivers and things. This is happening naturally because of the melting permafrost. They also detected toxic levels of naturally occurring aluminum, copper, and zinc from the tundra soil that are leaching into waterways. So what does that mean? The acidic and toxic water are killing insects and other aquatic life relied on by salmon and other fish that are a key food source for the region's 10,000 residents. During a survey last year in the Kobuk Valley National Park, researchers found the Akilalik River rapidly changed from clear to orange that summer, killing all the fish and aquatic life. If this rusting river phenomenon spreads to larger watersheds such as the Yukon River, it could threaten Alaska's $541 million salmon industry, particularly since salmon are sensitive to chemicals in the water. And it doesn't take a lot to make salmon less reproductively successful if they are fighting off toxicity. This is not theory, folks. This is happening right now in Alaska right now. 200 rivers right now, and probably going to be worse. I said earlier, 3 times as fast. Between October 2024 and September 2025, the period from when the ground begins to freeze until the end of the summer, surface air temperatures were the warmest on record dating back 125 years. This report was compiled by dozens of academic and government scientists and coordinated by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and they documented rapid environmental changes from Norway's Svalbard Island to the Greenland ice sheet and the tundra of northern Canada and Alaska. This is happening right now. And if the salmon die, what will that do to the other? What would that do to biodiversity? How would that affect other species? How would that affect us? Because at the end of the day, yeah, we may be at the top of the food chain, but we are as sensitive to these kind of changes. And it's not going to end well. This is what's going on there. Let me pivot to the Colorado River. Right now, it's been a while since we've talked about the Colorado. And if you recall, the last conversation we had about the river is a few years back, they declared what they called a level 1 emergency in the lower basin. There are 2 basins in the Colorado, the lower basin and the upper basin. Both are fed by reservoirs to support the claims on the water that go to some 7 states and 40 million people. That tier 1 emergency triggered a 5% across-the-board reduction in water distribution. It also triggered the requirement that everybody had to come to the table and figure out how to cut water use even more. Recently, talks kicked off, and it's not going well at all. Because somebody's trying to figure out how to take the political heat, because everybody wants the water. Local tensions and parochial fault lines have driven leaders of 7 states that share the river's water, Colorado, Utah, New Mexico, and Wyoming upstream, California, Nevada, and Arizona further down, to demonize each other rather than make politically perilous compromises. Bear this in mind. The Colorado River Compact was originally signed in 1922. California has the most solid lock on water rights of everybody. They're considered senior in this relationship. The people at most risk? Arizona. They're one of the junior partners, the latecomers to the relationship, the ones that have the most to lose. And yeah, Phoenix, I'm talking to you. That's an issue. Driving this stalemate is the steep economic and political price that comes with losing access to water. I've been to Phoenix several times in my life. I love Phoenix. But the one thing that scared me, even back then, and it's been 15, 20 years since I've been to Phoenix, Arizona. But even then, the one thing that scared me is I looked across out all of that and said, if this water ever stopped, it would be over. It's so arid. It's so dry. Without water, there's no civilization. That would be the number one reason. And the fact that Phoenix is so dependent on water that does not originate there. They get 40% of their water from the Colorado River, and they're considered one of the most legally vulnerable users along the waterway. That's because the 336-mile long canal system that funnels flows across central Arizona desert is the first in line for cuts under the century-old legal system that governs Western water. Now, to their credit, Phoenix is not taking this lying down. To reduce the city's risk, they are planning an advanced water purification plant designed to clean 8 million gallons of water a day of treated sewage water for drinking. It's come to that. Water reuse is not an option in Phoenix. If they lose any of that water, and we haven't talked about farmers in central Arizona, because they're the ones that are really going to get nailed. And you may have heard this statistic before. 70% of water goes to agriculture. It used to be called the freight charge. Now the new vehicle destination charge continues to rise. What's going on? We are the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. That's techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
In business, opportunity doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Playbook Investors Network, we connect visionary entrepreneurs with the strategies, resources, and capital they need to win. Whether you're launching, scaling, or reimagining your business, our network turns ambition into measurable success. Your vision deserves more than a plan. It deserves a playbook that works. Playbook Investors Network, where bold ideas meet bold results. Visit pincommunity.org today.
Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out. In the early days of the automotive industry, shipping charges were known as FOB Detroit, which was the cost of the factory to dealer transport. This evolved into the line item called freight to the present term, now they call them destination charges. Automakers are getting creative about price increases, choosing now to increase the destination charge amount as opposed to the actual cost of the vehicle. What's going on here? This is Topic C. The automakers are being squeezed. Here's what you may not realize. Even if a vehicle is manufactured predominantly in the United States of America, chances are it has imported parts. Well, guess what? The tariffs are on those imported parts, which get incorporated into the American-built vehicle. And Detroit has a choice. Problem is, average price of a new vehicle in the United States of America, average price is $50,000. $50,000 average, not high end, average. Manufacturers know that they don't have pricing discipline to be able to raise that price because they're already having trouble. So what do? Being squeezed by tariffs in certain parts where they just got to have them and they can't easily source them. And we talked about that. This is not just, oh, we'll just make them in America. You're looking at 3 to 5 years if, in fact, they can do it. And not all these parts make economic sense to do it even now, even with a tariff. They're slipping that price, that increase, into the destination charge. And guess what? You're not going to find a single dealer that will negotiate a destination charge. You can threaten, you can scream, you can holler, you can threaten to walk out. They're not budging on that price. Breaking out freight was mandated under federal laws back in the 1950s, where they had to actually have a line item for what that cost. And for many years, it was the transport literally from the factory to the dealer. Automakers pioneered in unit pricing. In other words, if you wonder, that price that you paid was the same no matter where you bought that vehicle across the country. Even if the factory was, say, in New York State, you bought the vehicle in Florida, the freight charge would be the same as it would have been in Albany, in California, here in Iowa. We are all paid the same price for that vehicle, destination charge. But it's higher, and in some cases, a lot higher. Within the past year, Chevrolet, Ford, and Ram have upped the destination charge on their flagship half-ton pickups from $1,995 to $2,595. That is a piece of money. That's the destination charge on the vehicle. And you might think to yourself, gee, you know, it's interesting to note that they don't tell you when they quote prices on TV, and they're not required to tell you what the destination charge is. They just tell you taxes and destination charges extra. And you kind of hear it, but you don't hear it. Back in the day, it wasn't such a big deal. But going on almost $3,000? Yeah, it's a big deal. When I first started out, brand new vehicles cost maybe within $1,000 of this, or what they're just charging for the destination charge today. And they said that these charges have risen faster during the 2025 model year than in any time in at least 10 years. And this is according to data from Edmunds. And everybody's raising prices. If they can't raise the sticker price, they're going to try to tuck it in the destination charge. Because they're trying to hit a number on the top end for what the vehicle actually costs from the factory. And they figure if they can tuck it into the destination charge, well, it's the destination charge. I'm sorry, it's not negotiable. It's not price of the car, but it is. We're allowed to charge it to get it to you. What it reflects now is the cost of all those parts getting to the factory and then from the factory to you. That's a slight change from the way it used to be. And that's where the impact of tariffs, even on vehicles that are American assembled, American manufactured, are hitting you. And at the way we're going, it is not unreasonable to think you may see $3,000+ in a destination charge in the next 2 to 3 years, reaching prices that by themselves used to be a good used car not so long ago. And if you go back way back, used to be the price of a new car, but not so much. Not so much. So they've been going up, and on average, destination fees on vehicles priced under $150,000 rose 8.5% for this model year, 2025. And like I just said, that's the biggest jump in 10. Industry-wide, average fees climbed 27% from to $1,549. That's between 2021 and 2025, versus 12% over the previous 4-year span. Bear in mind, we're still shaking off the impact of the pandemic. We are now compounded with that, with tariffs getting into the supply stream, getting into the supply chain. Automakers and suppliers can only absorb so much. And to be honest with you, the average supplier does not have this kind of markup. Not even close. They have no room to go, no place to go. They can't absorb it. So that leaves it up to the automaker to try to figure out what to do. If you want to sell this product in this environment with this cost structure, I've got to find a way to mitigate the increasing cost of this without alienating my customers. How do I do that? One of the ways of doing it is they're bumping up the destination charge. And it's getting higher. I've never thought I'd see charges like this. This piece in automotive news actually goes by nameplate and tells you, and I'm seeing everything from a low of 8.4% to as much as 39.1% increase. This is between 2021 and 2025. The lowest was Volkswagen, the highest was Ford. And everybody else, well, I'm sorry, I take that back. I said 39.1 for Ford. No, that's not the highest. The highest is 47.8% increase in those 4 years from Porsche. But Ford still is higher than the middle market competitors that they compete against for the increase in destination charges. So if you don't have enough to worry about at $50,000 for a brand new vehicle, now you're looking at destination charges tacked onto that are higher than ever before and look like they may continue to climb at that rate unless something else is done. Because there's just no room in the supply chain to absorb it. They can't. It's not there. They don't have the ability to do it.
This is the Tech Mobility Podcast.
Every great business starts with a spark, but taking it to the next level takes strategy, connections, and capital. That's where Playbook Investors Network comes in. We're your strategic partner for accelerating growth, navigating challenges, and capturing market opportunities before your competition does. Your business is more than an idea. Let's make it an impact. Playbook Investors Network. Your future starts here. Learn more at pincommunity.org.
To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
You've got the drive. You've got the vision. Now you need the right partner to make it happen. At Playbook Investors Network, we power ambitious leaders with the tools, insight, and investment connections to move faster, grow stronger, and lead markets. We're more than advisors. We're your co-pilots in success. Because in business, standing still is not an option. Playbook Investors Network, fueling ambition, delivering results. Visit pincommunity.org.